Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we are headed to RetroMagic here at Disney's Yacht Club. This is very exciting. I have never been here before at the Yacht Club, so this is actually my first time visiting the Yacht Club. RetroMagic is an event celebrating 40 years of Epcot. Very excited to be here today. Yeah, the convention center is this way, over by the bridge. This is a really nice resort. Look at this. I would love to stay here one day. This is really cool. They have an old 1920s Woody wagon car outside. Guess you could take your photo in it. A really neat looking car. All right, so we are in the convention center. This is a really nice place. I wonder if this is the right one. Somebody told me that there are 2 convention centers. Right now, I have no idea where I'm going. I wonder if the convention is in here. I hear a lot of people, so I think I am in the right place. I see a lot of people with RetroMagic lanyards. So I think this is it. Here it is, RetroMagic. Check-in down right here. This is where you check in. Really nice place. Okay, so I checked in and I got this really cool RetroMagic lanyard. It's got the ticket right there. Pretty cool. Taking a look inside the bag, and it actually came with really cool exclusive puffy stickers. Really cool. Retro vibes. Also, looking through the bag, got this really cool watch. This is a really cool plastic watch. Everything's retro, probably an 80s look. All right, so this is the main ballroom for RetroMagic. They have a stage up there. Gonna watch a few films, I think. This is where everybody's gonna be seated. Really big venue.
Hello, everybody! I have a quick question. If there's anybody out here who's Gold Key or World Passport that hasn't been in yet to pick your seat, they got to come in first, and then we can let everybody else in. So it's in everybody's interest. If anybody raises their hand, and we will check your credentials, you haven't been in. That's nope. World Passport or Gold Key. I don't see. Nope. All right, come on in. Come on in.
I apologize.
Anybody else? World Passport at Brighton, come on up. Go ahead, everybody. Find your seat up there at the Gold Key seats. Go ahead and pick your place.
In order for you to experience today's presentations, lighting in the ballroom will be reduced. We recommend, for your own safety and convenience, that you remain in place during the presentations. And now, the Lake Buena Vista Historical Society welcomes you to RetroMagic.
I have to wish Horizons a happy 40th birthday. That's right. We are on. We are on. I'm just waiting for the screen to show my. In a minute. Wait, on the screen. Wait, on the screen. There we go. Well, welcome everybody. Today we are going to talk to three of the folks who had involvement at different stages of the development and engineering of Epcot Center. And I should pull my notes out if we're going to do that, because it helps me. Bob Gurr. There's no better way to get everybody awake than to start with Billy Flanagan and Tammy Tuckey singing and then have Bob Gurr in the first panel. And what we're going to do is we're going to run through, Bob and I are going to chat a little bit, and then Bob Holland over here is going to give us a little slideshow on some of his. If you've listened to his magnum opus interview on the Progress City podcast, I think there's about 4 hours on there that covers a fascinating array of Disney history. And then Steve Alcorn, many of you who have read his book. Will take us through a terrific photo journey through the construction of Epcot. So we welcome Bob Gurr. And Bob, my first question is that Walt Disney was a movie maker, television, entertainment, built theme parks. What was it like at Imagineering when he suddenly decided, you know what, we should build a city?
Well, before all of that, is this on?
It is.
Before all of that, Epcot actually started about 1956 because Disneyland, as it opened, people thought it was going to fail. By Christmas time, it was going to be a success, and Walt added a whole bunch of attractions in 1956. 1958, the Brussels World's Fair started. Walt picked up a group of people and sent them over to Brussels. They had people from Walt Disney Productions, WED, and Disneyland to look at the future. Brussels, 1958. By 1960, Walt had decided that he was going to do 3 attractions for the New York World's Fair. Some of it was going to talk about the future. By 1962, he sent a bunch of us up to the Seattle World's Fair. We're going to look at the future. Pretty soon, there was rumbles of a thing called Project X, which went around the company for quite a few years. Then suddenly, in 1965, about October, the news about Walt Disney World opening broke ground in publicity prematurely. Remember, there was a story about that newspaper lady working down here, sniffed around with Walt, and then one day was out at the studio and just bluntly looked at him and says, I understand you just bought all that property. And Walt was totally shocked that his whole cover had been blown. He had all this subterfuge how to buy this property. Anyway, immediately we were sent to work on Epcot. So Epcot had that kind of a head start. Now this got very, very serious between October of 1965. By 1966, in January, Walt took a group of us on the plane, the Little Mouse, to visit several companies on a sales junket. Now remember, I'm just the car guy in the company, design all this stuff, and I was assigned to transportation design for Epcot. to sit in a meeting with the chairman of the board of Westinghouse, many vice presidents, and watch Walt try to explain Epcot to these high-level business people, and I saw so many blank stares. What in the world is Walt talking about? This was my first warning that, uh-oh, this is not going to be easy. We went over to General Electric, same thing. What? They had a hard time trying to understand that. So I think what happened was we started to change the pitch to try to explain it a little bit better, and while getting ready to do that, Walt was gone. Epcot stopped completely for years, and it wasn't until 1972 that all of a sudden Card Walker, our then vice president of the company, said, what are we going to do? And he came over to WED, and we waited for the instructions from the top of the company. His question to us was, what are you guys going to do? And I remember we just stopped breathing. We saw that not only did we lose Walt, I think we just lost Epcot, because Card Walker, the president, did not know what we're going to do. In any event, there was a program called the Wednesday Morning Club, which was about 12 or 13 of us, a big mix all across the company, in which we were to meet every Wednesday morning for a couple hours and pick up where Walt passed off these ideas. What in the world did Walt have in mind? And he'd been gone a number of years, and we were in a pickle. What in the world is going to be an Epcot? Anyway, this was a long-winded series of meetings, went for months and months and months. Marty Sklar was there. He was the chairman of the meeting. And we found out a whole bunch of reasons why this would not work. So this is a precursor to what later was done in a book, Walt Disney and the Search for Community. Some of you own that book. This fella came around and he talked to everybody that had done any work on Epcot and interviewed every single one of them. And
Or one of them over there could just ring it and say, wait, I can add to that story for some context to that, but they know something. So that you get all the information before you leave. So if you hear and we stop, somebody over there is going to be recognizable. Run over Phil Donahue style with a microphone. And let them contribute whatever they have to contribute. Other than that, we're going to exit the stage so the time can start here with Ted Linenhart. And sit back, relax, and leave the driving to us, everybody, okay?
Epcot thing, but then somebody came up with the idea of spinning people around in a centrifuge. And I kind of feel that was a point at which the point of Epcot changed from being expansive, and I won't quote your words you used a minute ago. You know what I mean. Anyway, it's there, and I think you'll really enjoy taking a peek through that. It was quite an attraction, and it maintained about half the ride, and then you got out, and these seats were pretty vertical, and then you were tilted forward, like you are in soaring, and then you experienced space from a speculation standpoint. And it was wonderful to see that again.
Yes, sir. I knew I was home when I got on the airport tram and was greeted by Buddy Dyer. And on that tram was by a chicken.
All right, Pinhead, listen up. Your job is to pilot this craft through RetroMagic 2023 without overstressing it. This is a first-class event, Susie. A lot of dedicated fans are in attendance tonight, and they have high expectations. So the pressure is on. Are you ready, Stucky?
Yes, sir.
You need to measure up to a whole archive of flickering old movies and treasure family memories that warm people's hearts.
Yes, sir.
People are going to
1989, sir.
Then I'm sure you got the hang of it. You're gonna get stopped right up there on stage in a few minutes, aren't you, boy?
I'll do my best, sir.
As befits your role as a full-fledged member of the Cranium Command, carry on, buddy. And remember, be calm, cool, collected, serene, balanced, centered, and relaxed. Like me!
Will do, General. Guess I better get this show on the road. Okay, crew, report in. Todd McCartney, Jerry Reese, come in, please.
Stage left reporting in for duty. Let's have a wonderful presentation, shall we?
Sometime voice actor here, Buzz. Free association and creative makes fully sure. Let's do this, dude.
Very wonderful to see you again. Oh my goodness.
You truncated your scripts.
I asked when we put this together, and once we get onto the screen here, I want to thank everybody who worked to put this together. I was talking to Jared, and we had this idea, and Tammy Tucky helped us out. And before you know it, Jerry says, "Oh, yeah, I can write a script." He's definitely in Hollywood. I got a script with the font and emphasis, and I was like, this is impressive. So we do have a couple people. Let's see if we can just move over here. So, first of all, Corey Burton reprised his role as General Knowledge. Scott Curtis was here tonight, reprised his role as Buzzy. Tammy was able to do all the, Tammy Tucky did the audio editing. Bunny Wars, Twitter did all the artwork as well. Written by Jerry Reese, and there's a tab row that says written by him.
Right, so that's it. And I'm Red Shoes honoring Baxter.
There we
He was asked if he would measure up to Baxter, he wasn't sure. That's a smart answer.
Exactly. So we have a lot to go through tonight. There's a lot of surprises in this. You and I have been working on this for, I want to say almost a year, I think. It's some point. But, you know, there's some photos of you that kind of lead up to the story that we're about to tell.
Right.
And that's what tonight is. It's a story of Jerry's story, right? This is really his story of how he came in and gave us Cranium Command and with us. So, now, one of the things I want to tell you about when we put this presentation together, you need to look through because those that.
So I found the appropriate people who were willing to put up with the crazy format that we were shooting. And Scott, as you can see, he was the last kid that was in your edit of the movie there. And it was his hands that properly did the eating of the food and stuff. So that was a key reason that we could stay on target with our schedule and budget because he did his marks everything.
Well, we found our buzzing, so please welcome to the stage, Scott Curtis. You guys haven't seen each other since?
Yeah, until just a few minutes ago outside.
He's grown up with it. That's right. You did a great job. I mean, we sent that cut over to me for the opening, and he came back. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, the voice changed a little bit.
Sure is dark in here. It just hits the city.
So this is kind of the main ballroom where you get the autographs. They have a bunch of little displays. It's a pretty big ballroom.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bob. How are you? I got a Haunted Mansion Funko Pop.
Oh, yeah.
Would you sign on the plastic?
Yes, I can do that, yeah. Okay, there you I would do a film, a cartoon film or an animated film or a comedy. We take each serious episode in history of how man got around in these vehicles, And we'd say, what can we do to get a little chuckle, a slight whimsical laugh? And my training as a gag man in the early days of Disney's, where we used to be paid $5 for a gag and $10 for a really good gag, it developed all of us to think that way. So coming on the transportation ride problem, I applied the same rules. We weren't making a film necessarily, but the rules of entertainment and staging and developing a gag, the timing, were all the same. The main thing was to make this ride look authentic. All of the wagons, all of the props, as I said before, had to be right out of the history book. No cheating. The costumes had to be correct. The right period. And if our situation involved a little imagination, or we'd go for a laugh, fine, but it had to look authentic.
Yeah, so it was Ward and then Claude Coates and Mark Davis, and they all worked on it. I'm sure a ton of other people also worked on it at the end as they got moved on and off the projects. But Ward was kind of the man in charge, and he gave us this pavilion, which we enjoyed for many years. And I just want to run really quickly through kind of some of the reasons that we love it. The vehicles inside. There were 16 cars, like GM cars, actually like all Buicks and things from their line, plus street cars and steam cars and a full-size train. Well, yeah, full-size train, plus the riverboat. So there's all kinds of vehicles inside, airplanes. There was a Pepper's Ghost effect, which I don't know how many people remember that at the end, but that was really cool. So that was a huge, obviously that was a Claude Coates thing because he was really great at that. There was 73 animals sculpted for this that were audio animatronic, plus 102 human characters, and Dave had to do all of them. He was the person that ended up animating every single one of those. We had Gary Owens as the narrator.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful world of motion.
Who was known for laughing, and his whole deal is, if you go back and listen to the dialogue, it's not funny. But the reason was he always played it straight, and then what you saw in the visual was kind of like in contrast to what he was saying. So the humor came from the difference between what he was saying, like how great everything was, versus Ward's setups, where you saw actually how like kind of awful and how funny things were. It also had speed rooms. There were 3 speed rooms in this attraction, including one that used graphics from Tron at the end. So that was really super cool. And that's what it sounded like. That sound carried with me, I think, for my entire life, like hearing that. And of course, it had wonderful music from Buddy Baker and Existencio, who wrote the song, and then George Wilkins, who did the many, many, many variations of that. And of course, it ended up with this beautiful City of the Future that was keyed off of a painting done by Tim Delaney and then realized by Chris Runco from the special effects department. And it had this awesome music that ran behind it. So I think that optimism that they talk about for the new ride, I hope is coming from this. Oh, that's interesting. All right. And just this was a photo that Tom put out from Stephen Miller showing the inside of it, and just to get an understanding of the scale. Those are the cars that you rode in that you see in the upper back, and you're looking down into the floor, and look at that ladder. You can just see how big that final set was. It's amazing. And it was fun. That, I think, is the biggest thing. Spaceship Earth was very serious. Like the tone of most of the attractions was super serious, but this one was very Disney and very fun, and I think that's why a lot of us remember this very fondly. But this gentleman here, Dave Feitman, besides audio animatronic programming, you're also a wonderful model, right?
I guess so, yeah. Sorry, that's actually me posing as a character in American Adventure. Whenever they're doing background scenes, they needed somebody to model Sam McKinnon, Michael Lloyd, and some of the painters. So they would just grab somebody in the hallway, and they often grab me and say, here, put this costume on, go out in the parking lot, and here's a rifle, we'll tell you what to pose. And they did that a lot. I'm actually in 4 or 5 scenes in American Adventure. I'm a lot of the dead guys in the background. I don't know how that turned out, but yeah. And there's actually a museum near Wed, Cowboy Museum, that they put me in a giant painting that's scary because I think I'm 12 feet tall. But yeah, Ward Kimball was my director, and Mark Davis was kind of helping out too, but and Claude Coates. Ward was really a character, a really bizarre guy. I wasn't used to dealing with him because this was the first time. And he was always playing a joke on me every single day that he came in. And his biggest joke was he would have a real long tie that was like twice as long as a normal tie, unzip his zipper, run the tie through his zipper down to his knees, and he'd walk in pretending like there was nothing wrong. And I go, Ward, I'm sorry, but you can't do that in here. He's like, you gotta pull your zipper up. He goes, Dave, that's the gag, come on. You got the gag. But every scene was something new, something different, and there's always some type of gag in each scene.
So here's the opening scene. We've got a picture of the actual ride plus the maquettes, and then these drawings. Did you ever get to work with these drawings?
They would bring the drawings and they'd show me, but we saw the models, the miniature model first, and kind of went through that and get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But whenever we mocked up a show, we mocked everything up at the Tahunga building, which was right by the Burbank Airport. So you'd hear these giant planes landing and taking off right next to you every like 15 minutes. And it was really noisy when that happened. But they'd mock it all up, and we'd put everything up with tape on the floor and have blueprints to make sure that it was exactly in the right position, the right height. And then they'd mock up the characters on these wood platforms so that it'd be the correct eye height thing. So you know exactly where the track was. They even have us, Waithel Rogers would have us put duvetine around the base of the figure so it looked, first class. He didn't want, the VIP people coming in and seeing the valves and stuff underneath the figure. So we had to put duvetine around, duvetine in the background. Everything was lit up with, with professional lighting, all with gels, all of it just at the Tonga building, just for a buy-off for the executive.
Well, a few years before Disney fired me, which actually started with Spaceship Earth, my opinion, which was lucky I created the Gurr Design Company, and away we went. Anyway, at the Art Center College of Design in '76, the opening day, one of the people I had known, Bill Mitchell, Vice President of General Motors, I says, Bill, you ever heard of an Epcot? No, but I want to know now. He gave me his card, mailing address. I went and talked to Marty Sklar the next day because we had 6 little boxes of presentation of Epcot sales brochures. And I said, Marty, here's Bill's address, send them to him. And Marty blows up and he says, no, Gurr, you don't understand. Ford is our target company. I says, I promised the Vice President General Motors you would send it. And Marty was furious for months. But within a couple of days, General Motors calls, and within a week, we had communication between General Motors and Disney like you couldn't believe. They'd fly out and talk to us. Even the chairman of the board, the crazy Roger Smith, came out and talked to Dick Nunes. We had conversations that were so neat, Marty just threw up his hands. Anyway, that got everything going. And then we finished up all of the financials to tell General Motors we were going to have a major meeting in the top of the Contemporary Hotel. All the GM people were there, all the Disney people were there, and we make our giant pitch in the typical powerhouse Disney method. We addressed the guy who was CFO at General Motors, Tony DiLorenzo, typical big New Jersey crook-looking type of guy. And he listens to all our guys make this pitch, and he doesn't say anything, and all of a sudden he pulls out a calculator in his hand. He says, all these guests are coming. That's gonna cost me 53 cents a person. What do I get for that? Our guys were speechless. We had never tried to sell to a guy that was a tough guy from New Jersey. But anyway, it worked. We made a pitch. This guy saw the whole thing and he looked at us as 53 cents a person. 10 years, all his money. And it worked well, and then within weeks, he says, okay, guess what? GE and everybody else jumped in. Nobody jumped in unless General Motors would jump in, and it all came down to Tony DiLorenzo. And the guy was so nice. I had to meet Club 33, my friend John McCormick, who was vice president of General Motors Europe, and there was a schedule problem with my flight. Tony says, Gurr, come with us back to Detroit on our brand new Gulfstream. Sign in as secret person number 13 in the back of the airplane. The pilot saw me go in there and he knew I liked planes. As soon as we took off, he says, come up in the front and you can ride with us. He knew what it was like to ride as an ex-person in the back end of their airplane. That's how friendship got started. Simple as that. We had a great time. Everybody signed up. You got a whole Epcot.
And you can watch the fireworks in the parking lot of the yacht club. Today has been a great day. RetroMagic, 40 years of Epcot, 2023. And also, happy October 1st. Spooky season is upon us. That was the finale. Epcot fireworks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more videos.